Their protection and housing, probably most of them, would have perished in the winter that now hurried after autumn, if help had not had been to hand, but help came swiftly. For Bard at once had speedy message sent up the river to the forest to ask the aid of the king of the elves of the wood. And all these messengers had found a host already on the move, although it was then only the 11th Thursday after the fall of Smog. The 11th The Elven King had received news for his own messengers from the birds that loved his folk, and also knew much of what had happened. Very great indeed was the commotion among all of these, with wings that dealt on the borders of desolation of the dragon. The air was filled with circling flocks, and their swift flying messengers flew here and there across the sky. Above the borders of the forest there was a whistling, scrying, and piping. Far over Mirkwood tidings spread, "Smog is dead!" Leaves rushed, and startled leers were lifted. Even before Elven King rode forth, the news had passed west right from to the pine wood of the misty mountains. Baron had hired it in the Baron had heard it in his wooden house, and the goblins were at council in their caves. "There will be the last we shall hear of the Doin Oakenshire," Ravia said the king. He would have done the same. He would have done better to have remained my guest. It is an ill wind, with all the same, he added, that blows no one any good, for he had not forgotten the legend of the wealth of Thor. So it was that Bard's messengers found him now marching with many spearmen and bowmen, and crows were gathered sick of him, for they thought the war was awakening again. Such had not been in those parts for a long age, but King, when he received the praise of Bard, had pity, for he was the lord of good and kindly people, so turning his march, which had at first been direct towards the mountain, he hastened now down the river to the long lake. He had not boots nor rafts enough for his host, and there they were forced to go to the stowaway by foot. But great store of goods he was sent ahead by water. Still, elves are light-footed, and though they were not in these days much used to the matches in the treacherous lands between the forest and lake, their going was swift. Only 5 days after the death of the dragon, they came upon their shores and looked on the ruins of their town. Their welcome was good, and as many expected, and the their master were really ready to make any bargain for the future in the return of the Elven King aid. Their plans were soon made. With the women and the children, the old and the unfit, the master remained behind, and with him were some men of crafts and many skilled elves. And they buried themselves to felling trees, and collecting the timber sent down from the forest. Then they set out, raising many huts by the shore against the oncoming winter. And also under master's direction, they began the planning of a new town design, more fair and large even than before, but not in the same place. They removed northward higher up the shore, for ever after they had a dread of the water where the dragon lay. He would never again return to his golden bed, but was stretched cold and stone, to sit upon the floor of the shallows. There for ages his huge bones could be seen in calm weather amid with ruined piles of old town, but few dared to cross the cursed spot, and none dared that fell from his rotting cascade. But all the men of the arms were still able, and most of the Elven kings astray, got ready to march north to the mountain. It was thus that in 11 days from the ruin of the town, the head of their host passed the rock gates at the end of the lake, and came into the desolate lands.